Welcome to Friday, guys. Good to see you. As the Jayhawks get settled here, we're going to do the format slightly differently. No opening statement today. We're going to go right to questions for Coach and the student athletes. And it can be for either or. And please address your question to a particular student athlete or to Coach. And we'll get started right here on the right front side there.
Danny Klinkskill, Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. Coach, do you see any similarities, not in the way your teams played, but kind of the structure of the fact that both teams are kind of veteran teams that hadn't had much tournament success, got past that, have played great in the tournament? Are there similarities there?
Well, I don't know if I totally agree with that, because both programs have experienced success in the tournament. You know, we neither one of us have a lot in the last couple of years. I see some similarities. You know, they're a veteran team, even though Brunson's a freshman, and they have some young guys off the bench that are going to be tremendous players. But we do too. Our bench is very young as well, for the most part. But I see some similarities. I think that the similarities are more personnel driven. You know, they've got a really skilled four-man, and we've got a really skilled four-man, and all their guards can beat you off the bounce, and that's very similar to our guards. But the thing that I do love about their team, and I always have, is how hard they play and how scrappy they are.
Okay, we'll go here right on the aisle on the right side.
Hi, Mark Tracy from the New York Times. I wanted to ask about buzzer beaters. There have been several kind of prominent ones in the tournament so far. Frank and Wayne, there was in the OU game, there were a couple of close calls, and I think, Frank, you hit one last year against TCU maybe. I was wondering if it's a thing you guys practice in practice, you know, like tough, long-distance shots at the buzzer. And also for Coach, I was wondering if there's like kind of like a matrix, like a two-point conversion matrix, where if you're down 5, you have a certain thing to do in order to try to get up and tie the game or win the game with very little time left.
Well, I think from my vantage point, it's kind of by feel. You know, if it's a 2-possession game, I would probably try to score quick and take the best shot available. Not necessarily having to be a 3, but I don't have a matrix or a formula that we go by that this is what we do when it's you're down 5 with 30 left or you're down 4 with 20 left. I think if we're down 3 with 5 left seconds, then we'll try to shoot a 3 though. So, but that's about it.
Thanks, Coach. Left side.
Bill Bob Lutz from the Wichita Eagle. You were at Perry's first high school game back in 2008. It was a Friday night. I think you had a game the very next day. Can you discuss the process of recruiting him and then also coaching him? What that's been like to get him to get to the level he's at today?
We probably spent as much time on Perry recruiting him as anybody, just because we were so aware of him at an early age and a young age, and Danny Manning was our point man in his recruitment for the most part, but you know, he was an easy guy to recruit because he wasn't seeking attention, and just like he is now, he's not seeking attention. So he was a fun guy to recruit because, you know, it wasn't like you had to talk to him every day, to be honest with you, in order to let him know that you love him a lot, which you have to do with a lot of recruits. If you told him that maybe on Monday, then by Friday he would still believe that there was probably still some love involved, which is a little different for some recruits. But he was an easy recruit, great family, and certainly coaching him, it's been a real treat because, and it has been for all our guys, because just watching how he's matured off the court so much, in my opinion, which has really spearheaded his development on the court, and just see how he's kind of grown not only into a great player but a really an outstanding young man as well.
Let's go on the right side aisle here and then to the left.
Bill, John Clark from Comcast Sportsnet in Philadelphia. When you look at Villanova these first 3 games, their shooting percentage is up there in the history of the tournament, making a ridiculous number of threes. In your preparation in years past for games like this, are they playing as well as any team you can remember?
Well, you know, preparation is so short. I mean, we're talking about a 45-minute practice today and scouts, you know, so there'll probably be more time prepping for Nova off the court as far as film work or getting guys to understand scouting report than there probably will be on the court. But yeah, they're probably playing as well as anybody that we've gone against in recent memory, at least that I can recall. You know, they're on fire right now, and you know, it's one thing to shoot a high percentage, but to shoot that higher percentage with the volume of threes they've been shooting makes it even more impressive. So, and they're doing, and everybody's making them. It's not like you can just key on one guy. I mean, everybody's been shooting them well. So, they're a red hot team right now. But you know, honestly, we've been playing pretty well ourselves, and so we won't want to change how we're playing, but we certainly need to emphasize on how to get to their shooters and certainly still guard the ball and keep it out of the paint.
Just a reminder, we have the student athletes till about 3:10, just to let you guys know that. Let's go on the left side in the green and then over on the right.
Bill, just along the lines of the three-pointer, you guys shoot quite a high percentage, but not as many as other teams might shoot at times. And I just wonder how your philosophy of shooting, taking the threes, maybe has evolved. I remember at times you've looked at it as fool's gold. I think that's one of your terms for it.
No, well, you know, I have said making jump shots all the time and not playing through the post some or driving the ball can be fool's gold. Making threes is not at all, but that can't be the way we play. All you rely on. You know, I've always been a guy that played inside out, and this year we probably play less inside out than we have. But the reality of it is we've got, in my opinion, really good shooters on the perimeter, and I think every coach plays to his strengths. Certainly, you know, people say that I don't shoot as many, or we don't shoot as many threes. I guess statistically that could be accurate, but that's not something that we want to shoot a certain percentage or anything like that. I thought last night we were pretty efficient and we shot 9. And there's been some games where we've taken 52 shots and shot 25. I think a lot of times defenses dictate how many you take as opposed to an actual game plan offensively.
Go right side here in the back on the left.
Hi, guys. Janine Edwards, ESPN. I'll ask this of Coach, and then if one of the players wants to also answer it as well, I'd love to get a player perspective on it. You said the key to winning games is even when you're not playing great, keeping the other team from going on their runs. And sometimes that's easy to plan for, but not as easy to execute. So physically and mentally, how do you prevent a team from going on runs when you're not playing great at that moment?
Well, you know, my philosophy has always been if you know, if the other team can't score, you can't lose, and that's not a realistic. I mean, that's not a real thing. But I think it hopefully drives a mindset that you know, defense matters, and in the tournament, I really feel this way, is that when you play a team like Villanova, if you let them be who they've been the first 3 games in the tournament, you've got to play at a ridiculously high level to shoot the ball like that and to score the ball that easy. So your focus a lot of times is making sure they can't be as comfortable as what they've been in the first 3 games. And so I really believe that's it as much as anything, is not let your opponent play well. And when you don't let your opponent play well, you may feel like you're not playing well, but you look up and, you know, you're still up 2 or you're only down 2, and there hasn't been much separation in times where you're not very good.
Perry, can you follow up on that one?
You know, yeah, I feel like, you know, we know that teams can go on runs, and we know as a team that, you know, we try not to let that happen, and if it does happen, you know, defense is always key, and we really try to make sure defense is our key main focus, because if we're not thinking about our offense, you know, it really helps us.
Thank you. Let's go in the back, CL, and then we'll go over on the right side.
Bill C.L. Brown, ESPN.com. Yesterday, Norm Roberts said that there was an emphasis on having the guys play for pleasure, not pressure, was his term. In what ways is that different? In what ways have you prepared this team kind of differently for this tournament as opposed to the recent past?
You know, I think going into tournaments, there's a lot of times that you know, teams are you know, on an upward incline, on an uptick when you're healthy, when you've been on a little bit of a run where you played well in your conference, and sometimes, you know, whether it be health or distractions or whatnot, can keep a team from probably being its best and going into the tournament. In the last couple of years, that's been us, be real candid. We haven't been whole. And so this year, you know, fortunately, knock on wood, we've been whole. And I think that has as much to do with anything, with us being more confident. But you know, I saw an expression that never let the pressure exceed the pleasure. And I thought it was pretty accurate with our guys, and I shared that with them after we clinched the Big 12. You know, guys, now, hey, we've already done what we set out to do for the regular season. Now let's just play with pleasure the rest of the way. I mean, and there's no pressure to win the league. We've already done that, so let's play with pleasure. And I don't know if that has anything to do with why we played pretty well of late, but I do think it's real important this time of year to enjoy the moment. You've earned the right to enjoy this moment. You know, it's you put yourself in a favorable position. Enjoy it, have fun, and so that's kind of been our message.
Let's go on the far right side here, and then we've got about 4 questions here on the left.
Steve Greenberg with Bleacher Report. This is for Bill and Perry. Perry was a valedictorian in high school. You know, he comes from a family, parents were athletes, they worked with kids. I imagine you figured you were getting a pretty solid person when he came in. I want to ask you how he's grown, though, if he had any growing up to do, how he has grown since then, and Perry, how you think you have over 4 years of college.
Well, I think that, you know, he's obviously a very, very bright young man, both on the court and in the classroom, and the way I think he's grown as much as anything is you know, he's always been very, very quiet and reserved, and to see how he handles situations publicly and through the media or with his teammates, you know, he exudes confidence. And I think that's as much how he's grown as anything else. He's always been rock solid, but I think he's much more comfortable in public settings than maybe what he was early.
And yeah, confidence was the biggest thing. You know, each year, you know, I felt like I've more confident in my skin, which helped me speak to people and be comfortable. So that was the key thing for me.
Let's get one more question on the right, and then we'll get you guys all right here.
Michelle Gordon with ESPN. Question for Frank and Wayne. With the game time being pretty late tomorrow, 8:49, 8:50, I believe, what are you guys planning on doing to kind of use up the time tonight, but especially tomorrow, all the waiting, and what are you guys planning on doing to help fill it?
Wayne first, please.
Well, our game the other night was around the same time, so just do the same thing we did pretty much, which was just wake up, eat breakfast. I think we did shoot around. Then we ate again, and by that time it was time to play, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, it's same as Wayne. We got up, we ate breakfast, we watched a little bit of film, we went to shoot around, and we ate again. We got to lay around for a little bit, and then we came back and watched some more film, and just got ready for the game.
Okay, I'm going to let the KU student athletes go to the breakout room, which is back that way. We get to keep Coach with us. And I think, yeah, we'll just go right here in this block right here on the left side.
Tim Sullivan, Louisville Courier Journal. Coach, last year at this time, Kentucky was undefeated, #1 overall, and everybody saw them with a target on their back. Your team seems to have embraced the whole pros versus Joes underdog role, even though you're the #1 overall seed. Is that the mentality you want to create, or do you want them to act like they should be the #1?
The underdog role, I don't think that anybody's ever, I've never said that to our guys. I may repeat what maybe some analysts have said, but I don't. To me, I'm confident in our guys. I think if we play well, we'll have an opportunity to win. And so, you know, if we don't play well, our talent level's not such that opportunity's near as high to win. But I really believe that we've got a good team, and I've been telling them all along that I believe we got a good team. And you know, it's always nice to have a chip, and maybe our guys do have a chip, but it hasn't been something that we've emphasized from a disrespect standpoint at all. I think people have respected us, or we wouldn't have been ranked where we were, and certainly thought of highly by others. But just because you've achieved something, you don't rest on it. You want to build off of it, and that's what I think our mindset's been, is to build on what's transpired as opposed to rest on it.
Kevin Haskin, Topeka Capital Journal. Bill, where have you seen this defense progress, especially during the win streak, and the obvious, I guess, how good will it have to be tomorrow?
Well, it'll probably need to be as good as it's been all year tomorrow. You know, you also got to hope that you know, they don't continue to shoot at such a high clip, but you also, you know, hope that you can put your guys in a position where they don't allow them to be as comfortable to shoot at such a high percentage. But our defense has gotten better. It's still a little bit inconsistent. Our rebounding has gotten better, but it's still inconsistent at times. But this is a different team defensively than it was in January. But you know, I don't know that it's an unbelievable team defensively compared to some of the teams we've had in our past. But I do think we've made huge strides in that area.
Bob Ford, Philadelphia Inquirer. Don't want to assume your matchups, Bill, but if Ellis and Jenkins get to see something of each other at both ends of the court, what do you see as the advantages and disadvantages of those matchups for both guys? I mean, how do you see them pairing up a little bit?
Well, I think that'll be a key matchup. I do think that they'll guard each other a good portion of the time when they're in there together. You know, one of the challenges for us, obviously, in Perry would be getting to shooters. You know, even though he can guard a perimeter player, but he's not used to guarding somebody that has the freedom and the ability to make hard, distant threes. So that'll be different, and certainly with him, with Perry, I mean, Jay would be able to answer that far better than I could. But it'll be two really good offensive players going against each other, though.
Bill, Bob Lutz from Wichita Eagle. Can you how common is it for you to be at the first game of a high school career for a player? Second part of that, what shortcomings does Perry have that may limit him at the next level?
I don't think. I'm sure. I've seen a freshman play before, I believe, but I don't know if it's been in the first game of his career. You know, Perry was such a hyped kid coming in. I mean, as an eighth grader. You know, everybody talked about he'd be the best player in the state as a freshman, and he turned out getting Player of the Year in the state as a freshman. So I think he's only four-time, isn't he, State Player of the Year? But I do think that's very unusual. And it's amazing to me what's important to families. That was really important to their family, that I was there the first game, and it was luck because we weren't playing that night. If we'd been playing that night, I wouldn't have been there. So, but no, and Perry's shortcomings, you know, I don't know that he has a lot of shortcomings. You know, he's not a big four-man, but he can stretch it and certainly put it down, and he's a good passer, and I think he can really defend his position. So I think he can really make an NBA team better. But as far as shortcomings, I think the thing that people don't realize, all college kids going to the next level is going to go through some struggles. Regardless, but I do think he's prepared to be a pro, and both on and off the court.
Pat?
Pat Forty from Yahoo Sports. Bill, some coaches who have gone to traditional powers like a UCLA and North Carolina, or I'm sorry, UCLA, Kentucky, Indiana, haven't been that comfortable with the historic import of the program. You seem to have embraced it at Kansas. Why have you been so comfortable with it?
Well, I'm really proud of everyone's successes that's been there. You know, I took over a situation that probably, in my mind, it may have been easier to the outside basketball world, but in my mind, I mean, that was a tough act to follow, following Roy and all the success that he had there. But you know, he followed Larry, and Larry went to 2 Final Fours in 5 years and won a national championship, and he followed Ted, and he followed Dick Harp, and then he followed, you know, Coach Allen. I mean, there's been so much history and success. I don't. And the other thing is, I don't think at Kansas your goal is to ever try to be the best that's been there. That's not going to happen. As a player, your goal is not to be the best player that's ever played there. That's not going to happen. Wilt played there, and Fog Allen coached there. So I think it's something that I don't feel like that we have to hold ourselves to other standards. But I think if you embrace the tradition and the history and the success, it allows you to do a better job, because you can build off of that and you can recruit off of that, and that's something that we've always tried to do.
I'm going to zigzag here, right, left, and that'll probably do it.
And they had to get Naismith out of there because he couldn't win.
Yeah, he was the only guy that couldn't win, there. So,
Blair Kirchhoff of the Kansas City Star. Bill, how late did you guys go before deciding Brandon couldn't go last night, and what's his status?
I've suspected that he wouldn't be very effective for a while. He was. We put him in Des Moines, and I mean, every time he turned, he winced. So I don't know if you guys remember, there was a play in Des Moines where there was a shot and a rebound came to his man, and he just reached out and grabbed him. Just reached out and grabbed him with the ball intentionally. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Coach, I can't move." And so we'll check him out again, but I don't think that he'll be available to us.
Left side here.
Bill, just one more thing on the three. Going back to your playing days, if I have this right, your last year playing would have been the last year before the three-pointer came into.
No, it was 2 years after.
It was 2 years, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But did you when it came about? Did you wish you'd had that in the game when you were playing? And the flip side of that is, how did you embrace it initially, and how did you start incorporating it into your coaching?
Well, I was. Well, everybody wished they would have played with a three-point line, because if you go back, the way I remembered, I was a fabulous shooter back then. So, no, I wasn't a good shooter by a high standard at all. But I think three-point line's been great for a game, and everybody would have loved to play with it. But as far as incorporating it, I don't know that there's been any one set thing that we've done to try to. I've always been, to me, field goal percentage, defense, and rebounding have always been important elements to determining whether you win or not. And three-point field goal percentage is certainly part of field goal percentage, but I think the emphasis to get good shots and has maybe not allowed our guys to shoot as many as maybe some other teams. Doesn't mean that our shots are necessarily better. And I was taught by Coach Sutton, if you can't score early, you want to give the defense a chance to break down. And so sometimes with that, that means the ball moves from side to side and makes it go from strong to weak, the defense. And so I want to shoot. If my guys are open, I want to shoot threes. And we've shot a higher percentage of threes this year than we have in the past, but the percentage has only been like 3 or 4 more percent. It's not like we're shooting a ton more threes this year.
Let's try to squeeze one more in on the right side.
Bill, Greg Eklund, this is for Kansas Public Radio. Last night you had talked about the trust that you've developed with this year's team. Since you're a fan of the Royals, have you found yourself as a coach observing the trust that Ned Yost developed between himself and the players, knowing that his players would go out and do the right thing to get themselves prepared?
I am a fan, and certainly, I heard Ned say that he didn't give one steal sign the whole year last year. The players did it on their own, which I thought was, I don't know, I'm not a baseball manager, but I thought that was kind of unique that he trusted them that much. But I haven't tried to equate trusting our guys with the Royals. I mean, there's been a lot of teams that I've trusted a lot, but I think that this team particularly has earned the staff's trust. Because they try to do what we want them to do, and don't always do it, and certainly we don't always tell them the right things to do, but their focus and their effort to try to do that is about as high as any team that I've had. So I can't help but trust them, because I feel like that they're trying to be an extension of what the staff is actually trying to teach them to do.
Coach, I think we had a couple more. Maybe we can get in here. in the front row here with these two guys.
Ryan Fannin with Villanova Radio. Coach, just a couple memories of some Villanova-Kansas games. Love to get your take on those. A couple years ago, the Battle for Atlantis game in semifinals there, and then in 2008 when you played Villanova in the Sweet 16 in Detroit on your way to your national championship.
Well, in 2008, we played really, really well the first half. I don't remember exactly how it played out, but we played very, very well the first half. And that team was on a roll at that time, and we were able to hang on. And then in Atlantis, you know, Nova kept us from playing with any rhythm at all. I mean, Wiggs and Joel were freshmen, and they had young guys playing too. I mean, it was, but they out-scrapped us, and certainly their pressure and their press bothered us at times, and you know, but we had a 1-point lead with, you know, out of bounds under Villanova's ball, and Ryan makes a three to win the game. So if I'm not mistaken, by 2, if I'm not mistaken. So certainly, you know, not a good memory, but one that I think that we certainly grew from. But you know, I think that the teams historically, at least in the times we played, have been pretty evenly matched, and we got the best of one, and they got the best of one.
Stay down here in front.
Bill, Rick Plumley, Wichita Eagle. Speaking of Ryan, can't pronounce his name.
Archie Diacono.
Very good.
I think that's right. So.
You mentioned the scrappiness of the team, and he's certainly one of their scrappers.
Yeah.
Does every team need a Ryan Arch type guy?
Well, I think every team would love to have Ryan as their point guard, or as one of their lead guards. There's no we would too. We'd love to have Ryan. I don't know if there's a college program in the country that wouldn't love to have him. But the things that he does well, you know, he's a great leader. He's tough, probably as much as anything else, and he does such a good job of playing at different speeds and getting guys off balance, and you know, he gets inside of people because he's so good with the ball, shot fakes, or he's got great feet. But he's a winner. I think I heard Jay say that you know, he could basically coach his team. Because he's heard his voice so many times, and he knows exactly what Jay wants, and there's times that he could be just instead of being an extension of him, he could actually run things. And maybe I misheard the quote, but I thought Jay said something like that. So you know, I think that Frank and Devontae are totally different in their approach and how they lead. But I certainly think that Ryan is one of the best leaders and one of the best guards in the country.
On the right.
Bill, you had said last night that you felt that Wayne brought a confidence out onto the floor at just the right time when you needed it, a confident presence.
Yeah.
In what ways does that manifest itself to you and to his teammates?
Well, to me, Wayne is, you know, Wayne loves the moment. There's a lot of players out there that do, but he's the one guy, to me, with our team, that when you run bad offense and don't have anything going, he can get a shot. He can go get his own shot, or he's got a quick release, or he can get a 3-up or make a big shot that's guarded. And I do think it gives guys confidence knowing that you know, we're struggling right now, but you know, if we can't play through Perry, then Wayne's a guy that will make a big play, and he's done that a lot. Even when he hadn't shot the ball well in games, he's made some huge shots for us. And I think the guys get confidence from that. And the other thing they get confidence from is he can do some things physically that our other little guards can't do. Because, you know, he can play above the rim. You know, he can do some, you know, he can post. He can do some things that I do think through that it gives our guys confidence as well.
Anything else for Coach? All right.
All right, thank you,
We'll
guys.
see you tomorrow.
Okay.